human connection is an intricate dance, and perhaps no phase of it is more exhilarating or entirely agonizing than the realm of the secret crush. Long before anyone musters up the courage to say those fateful words, "I like you," an entirely different conversation is already taking place beneath the surface. It is a dialogue written not in spoken language, but in the subtle nuances of human psychology, involuntary biology, and subconscious behavioral shifts. Men, in particular, often drop a complex trail of breadcrumbs. When they are harboring romantic feelings, they aren't quite ready to voice. They might believe they are playing it completely cool, maintaining an impenetrable facade of casual friendship or professional detachment. But the human brain and body are notoriously terrible at keeping secrets. The moment attraction enters the equation, a cascade of neurological responses takes over, triggering micro-expressions, body language tells, and behavioral adjustments that are practically impossible to fully suppress. For anyone sitting on the receiving end of this hidden attention, the ambiguity can be maddening. You find yourself caught in a loop of overanalyzing every text, decoding every lingering glance, and wondering if that playful tease was a sign of genuine interest or just casual friendliness. The desire to know where you stand is a fundamental human instinct. We naturally crave clarity to protect our own hearts and ego from potential rejection. Fortunately, you do not need to be a mind reader to uncover the truth. By stepping back and looking at human behavior through a psychological lens, the mystery begins to unravel. Attraction has a distinct blueprint. When a man develops a secret infatuation, his focus narrows. His daily routines subtly warp around your schedule, and his physical presence changes whenever you walk into a room. He becomes an entirely different version of himself just for you, creating a localized shift in gravity where you are always the center of his attention. To truly spot a secret crush, one must look beyond isolated incidents and look instead for patterns of high-interest behavior. A single long glance might be a coincidence, but when that glance is paired with an intense memory for the tiniest details of your life, an open body posture, and a sudden clumsiness whenever you are near, the coincidence transforms into a definitive pattern of attraction. This guide is designed to strip away the guesswork and give you a comprehensive, diagnostic look at the hidden mechanics of male infatuation. By exploring these 15 distinct, scientifically backed signs, you will gain the psychological insight needed to read between the lines of his everyday actions. Whether it is the involuntary dilation of his pupils, the protective way he positions himself next to you, or the telling reactions of his closest friends, you will learn exactly how to spot the silent signals of a man who is completely captivated by you, but simply too terrified to admit it. The classic catch and release eye contact. When a man harbors a secret crush, his eyes will almost always give him away before his words do. You will frequently catch him looking at you from across a crowded room, but the moment your gaze meets his, he will quickly look away or pretend to focus on something else entirely. This catch and release dynamic happens because he is drawn to you instinctively, but is terrified of making his feelings too obvious. When you are engaged in an actual conversation, however, his eye contact will become incredibly intense and focused as he hangs on to every single word you say. This subtle back and forth scanning reveals a deep fascination, mixed with a classic fear of rejection. He wants to look at you constantly, but he is desperately trying to play it cool. So you do not decode his hidden affection just yet. Subtle physical proximity and leaning in. A man with a secret crush will constantly find reasons to gravitate toward your personal space without being overly intrusive. Whenever you are in the same room, you will notice that he always ends up standing or sitting remarkably close to you. When you speak, he will unconsciously lean his upper body in your direction, tilting his head slightly to catch every nuance of your voice. This physical pull is an instinctual reaction to someone he desires. His body is naturally trying to bridge the physical gap between you two. He might choose the chair right next to yours during meetings, stand near you in a group circle, or tilt his shoulders toward you even when he is talking to someone else. This subconscious positioning is a major nonverbal indicator that you are the absolute center of his gravity and attention. The unconscious mirroring of your actions. Mirroring is a deeply psychological phenomenon that happens completely on a subconscious level. When two people share a strong emotional connection or attraction, if he has a secret crush on you, he will naturally begin to mimic your body language, gestures, and even your speaking cadence. If you take a sip of your drink, cross your legs, rest your chin on your hand, or use a specific slang phrase, You will soon notice him doing the exact same thing moments later. This behavioral synchronization is the human brain's way of trying to build a quick rapport, establish comfort, and signal empathy without explicitly stating it. He is trying to show you that you two are entirely on the same wavelength. It is a powerful, involuntary reflection of how intensely focused he is on your presence and how much he aligns with you. He remembers the tiniest details you mention. One of the most undeniable signs of hidden attraction is an incredibly sharp memory regarding the casual things you say. A guy who likes you will listen to you with absolute intent, storing away trivial details that most casual acquaintances would instantly forget. Weeks after an offhand comment, he might surprise you by asking how your pet's vet appointment went, bringing you your absolute favorite coffee order, or mentioning a specific childhood story you shared. This exceptional level of retention proves that you have his undivided attention and that everything concerning your life holds genuine value to him. He does not just hear your voice, he truly processes and cherishes the information. This mental cataloging is his quiet way of investing heavily in you, demonstrating that you are constantly on his mind long after the conversation ends. A noticeable shift in voice tone and body language. When you enter a room, his entire demeanor will undergo a sudden, involuntary transformation that sets you apart from everyone else. His posture will immediately straighten, his shoulders will push back, and he will instinctively fix his hair or adjust his clothes to look his best. More compellingly, his vocal tone will shift noticeably. Whenever he speaks, directly to you compared to how he interacts with his friends, men often drop their voice to a lower, deeper, and softer pitch when talking to someone they find highly attractive, which is an evolutionary trait meant to project masculinity and create intimacy. Conversely, if he is incredibly nervous, his voice might slightly crack or speed up. This total behavioral shift is a clear giveaway that your presence completely alters his emotional state and disrupts his usual casual comfort. He finds flimsy excuses to initiate contact. When a man has a hidden crush, he will constantly look for ways to interact with you, even if the reasons make very little sense. You might find him texting you out of the blue to ask a question he could easily Google, or dropping by your desk to discuss a minor detail that could have been handled over a quick email. He might ask for your opinion on things he usually handles alone, or invent reasons to borrow small items from you. These flimsy excuses are simply a safe cover for his true motive. He wants to talk to you and build a stronger connection, but he is too intimidated to state his intentions directly. By creating these artificial scenarios, he gets to enjoy your presence and attention without risking the vulnerability of admitting that he just really wanted to see you. Playful teasing and inside jokes. Playful teasing is a timeless, classic way that men try to build chemistry and test the waters with someone they like. If he has a secret crush on you, he will often poke gentle fun at your quirks, give you a silly nickname, or bring up light-hearted inside jokes that only the two of you share. This behavior is a clever psychological defense mechanism. It allows him to create a special, exclusive bond with you while keeping the mood light and completely low pressure. He uses humor to break the ice, make you laugh, and see how responsive you are to his unique attention. Pay close attention to how he treats other people compared to you. If he is generally reserved with everyone else, but turns into a total comedian or a playful instigator around you, it is a massive indicator of attraction, protective instincts, and overly gallant behavior. A guy who secretly likes you will instinctively step into a protective role whenever you are around, driven by an evolutionary urge to keep his romantic interests safe. You will notice this in small, subtle actions that show he is always looking out for your well-being. He might automatically walk on the traffic side of the sidewalk, hold doors open for you with extra care, or make sure you get safely to your car after a late night out. If you are carrying something heavy, he will eagerly rush over to take the load off your hands before you even think to ask for help. This heightened level of chivalry is his way of proving his reliability and demonstrating that he cares deeply about your comfort and security, signaling that he wants to be the one you can always depend on. He gets unusually nervous or fidgety around you. No matter how confident, cool, or collected a man might normally appear around his friends, a secret crush can completely shatter his composure. When you are nearby, you might notice him displaying classic signs of nervous energy and social anxiety. He might fumble with his phone, constantly adjust his watch or clothing, run his hands through his hair, or stumble over his words mid-sentence. You might also catch him blushing, sweating slightly, or laughing a bit too loudly at jokes that aren't even that funny. This physical clumsiness happens because he is overly self-conscious about making a flawless impression on you. He is so deeply invested in what you think of him that his nervous system goes into overdrive, making it incredibly difficult for him to act completely natural or relaxed in your presence. Active engagement and quick replies on social media. In the modern digital world, a man's behavior on social media can reveal everything his face tries to hide in person. If he has a major crush on you, he will likely be one of the very first people to watch your stories, like your photos, or leave thoughtful comments on your posts. When you send him a direct message, his reply will often come back within minutes, showing that he prioritizes your notifications over everything else. He will also try to keep the digital conversation alive by asking open-ended questions, sending funny memes, or sharing links to things he knows you enjoy. This consistent, enthusiastic online engagement proves that he is eager to remain connected to you throughout the day, using the safety of a screen to show the intense interest he is too shy to voice aloud. He dilates his pupils and smiles deeply when you speak. Our eyes and facial expressions are controlled by involuntary neurological responses that are almost impossible to fake when we are around someone we desire. When you are talking to a man who secretly adores you, pay close attention to his eyes and expression. A powerful psychological sign of attraction is the sudden dilation of his pupils, a physical reaction triggered by a rush of dopamine when looking at a romantic interest. Along with this, you will notice an incredibly genuine, deep smile that spreads across his face whenever you talk. This isn't just a polite social smirk. It is a full-fledged smile that reaches his eyes, causing them to crinkle at the corners. He is completely captivated by your presence, and his face naturally lights up because simply being near you and listening to your voice brings him immense happiness. His friends act differently or tease him when you walk by. A guy's closest friends are almost always the first to know about his secret infatuation, and they are usually terrible at keeping that secret hidden. If you want to know how he truly feels, stop watching him for a moment and start watching the people around him. When you enter a room or walk past his group, you might notice his friends nudging him, whispering to each other, or breaking into knowing smirks. They might loudly call out his name, make inside jokes to fluster him, or suddenly clear out to leave the two of you completely alone. This shift in group dynamics happens because his friends are actively trying to wingman him or playfully embarrass him about his crush. If his circle treats you with an unusual amount of curiosity or extra respect, it is because he talks about you constantly when you aren't around. He compliments subtle changes in your appearance. Most men are notorious for missing small aesthetic changes, but a man with a deep crush notices absolutely everything about you. Because he spends so much time admiring you, he will instantly spot the tiniest adjustments to your look that others completely overlook. He will be the first to compliment a subtle new haircut, a different style of jewelry, a fresh nail color, or a new outfit you've never worn before. Instead of giving generic compliments like, "You look nice," his praise will be highly specific and observant, such as "That color really suits you," or "I love how you styled your hair today." This sharp attention to detail is proof that he looks at you with an intense, admiring focus, analyzing your appearance because he finds you completely mesmerizing. He lingers longer during hellos and goodbyes. When a man has feelings for you, leaving your presence is the hardest part of his day, so he will try to stretch out every single interaction for as long as possible. When you run into each other, his hellos will be incredibly warm, and he will immediately try to transition the greeting into a full conversation. When it is time to part ways, he won't just say goodbye and walk off. He will linger. He might stand around talking for an extra 10 minutes after saying he has to leave, slowly gather his things, or use a hug that lasts just a few seconds longer than a normal platonic embrace. This hesitation to leave is a clear, subconscious sign that he values your company deeply and is actively resisting cutting his time with you short. An open, vulnerable posture whenever you are near. Body language rarely lies, and an open, unguarded posture is a massive indicator that a man feels a deep emotional draw toward you. When you are around, he will completely remove any physical barriers between you two. He won't cross his arms, turn his body away, or keep his phone up like a shield. Instead, his chest and torso will be completely oriented in your direction. Even if he is looking elsewhere, he will subconsciously point his feet directly toward you, which is a classic psychological tell showing where a person truly wants to go. This vulnerable positioning demonstrates that he feels entirely safe, comfortable, and receptive in your presence. He is unconsciously opening his physical space to invite you into his world, signaling a deep desire to connect on an intimate level.